All right. So can you give us an example of you said you guys do grants and some projects, an example of a project that you've done that might be of interest to aquaculture producers?
Yeah, in recent past, we've worked on special projects to educate and promote Vermont wine and local producers. In addition, we've recently, I would say a couple of years ago, worked on a project. It was called the Fish On Project. And basically it focused on Lake Champlain fish and education on preparation with our chefs. And basically the project, we led 8 guided fishing trips on the lake through a charter company. And during those fishing trips, we had, it's how to fish. We offered guided conversations about education about the lake and environmental, the environment, as well as just what kind of fish we can catch and how to serve it, and basically preparation. We offered that information about preparation and how serving fish, local fish. At the end of the project, we we had a dinner that the public could attend, actually. And it was, all the food was prepared by a VFN chef. And that project was, there were parts of it for, of course, the public education about local fish and safety and the environment, and but of course that other side of it is chef education and tastings and focusing on, just how to prepare and serve fish to the public.
So, and how do you get a project like that off the ground?
Well,
Is it internally funded, externally funded? I mean,
externally funded. So for the Vermont Wine Project, we had a specialty crop block grant through the Vermont Agency of Agriculture. And that was a 3-year grant. We actually had 2 grants, one after another. It was about a 3-year full project. And it started with the producer and tastings and tasting the grapes and the wine and learning about that, to like educating and having tastings with the chefs. So at one point, for that project, we had a tasting dinner at Hotel Vermont, where restaurant members from around the state could sign up and taste food in conjunction with local wine and go through that. And then it ended with some consumer education and consumer tastings and panel events. For Fish On, anyway, it was a different, it wasn't a specialty crop block grant, but it was another grant from that focused on the Lake Champlain basin, basically. Yeah, so it's a lot of that is for those specific market development projects. A lot of that is externally funded through grants. The other way that we try to connect our producers with chefs are, networking events. We have an annual meeting, and we trying to facilitate those conversations.
all right. So where do I go to next? How about so what happens at the annual meeting?
Our annual meeting, yeah, it's a yearly event, annual. And at the time, usually we will talk about the past year and what we're doing for the future year, of course. And we'll often have, whether it be a keynote address, and I would say panel discussions on topics pertinent to the sector at the time, to the industry at the time. In the past, we've also had discussions on from workforce development to Vermont agritourism to discussions on Vermont Wine Project. And we'll have those kind of guided talks and between members about whatever project we're working on at the time.
Hey, it's a money question. What do you think Vermont Fresh can do for aquaculture producers in the Lake Champlain Basin?
Um, money, gosh, I don't know if
Well,
that.
not necessarily a money question is in the big question, not money question is in this is all about money.
Yeah. No, no, no. But what can we do, right? What do we
Yeah.
do? Our, as part of it is like, you know what? For me anyway, I want to help. Um, I want to help aquaculture producers and you know get into the fish into the restaurants, right? In addition, I would like to raise up the idea of part of it's embedded in our mission and our DNA to we want more local food purchasing by whether it be retail or chefs or and also educate about that. You know, we I touched on agritourism a little bit, but we also run Open Farm Week, and it's about educating the public too. So we, you know, I, I'm there to like promote. We're there to help amplify whatever information is out there, but also, um, I want to remove barriers. Right? What are the barriers to their success? What are the as much as I can control, whatever I can help out with, but I also I also look at it as I don't say problem solving, puzzle solving, but if there's something that I can do to help something move further along in the supply chain, I'm there. I'm happy to do that. You know, part of what we do is just strengthening and building those relationships. So, you know.
All right. Um, so on the farm tours, so how do those work from your end? What does Vermont Fresh do to help facilitate farm
Oh, I
tours,
see. Yeah.
farm agritourism?
Well, if we're talking, are you talking straight the like consumers or like the restaurants and chefs, like that professional
Um,
education?
why don't we both actually? So you can start with consumers and then
Okay, so let's start with consumers. So yeah, no, it's okay. I just wanted to. They're both a little different, but there's similarities, of course. So for Open Farm Week, it's in August. And it's a week of basically getting the community out to explore, to learn, to taste what Vermont has to offer. So I kind of I look at it in a number of ways. On one hand, if there's a farm or a food producer out there who wants to dip their toe into the idea of inviting folks to the farm, then this is a great way to do it because we actually work with a committee of other local food organizations. So we're there to support whoever registers to sign up. So if and when I say support, it can be technical assistance, marketing technical assistance, or it can be technical assistance like what should I do, or is my farm safety, or just some guidance on that, on any sort of technical assistance in inviting folks to a farm. But in addition, uh, because this is our 7th year, actually we're going into our 7th year on this, and the events can range, or the participation can range from, last year people could just do a virtual tour, post on social media, that kind of thing. In the past, we've had like on-farm dinners, or we've had actual tours, like, hey, this is how we grow something, and here are the things that come up, or let me talk to you about this type of this type of fish, or let me talk to you about how we raise these apples, or this type of apple, or a lot of it too is like tastings. If there's a farm growing a certain, and I'm talking vegetables now, so it would change for aquaculture, but if there's a farm that wants to um, basically build that stronger connection to consumers and the community. It's a great way to do it. And we really try to um, allow for meeting farms where they are. If they want to just introduce us to what they do on social media for the week, that's fine. If they want to actually invite people to the farm to learn about growing practices, that's great too. But it's really about just getting the word out and telling the story of our of agriculture in Vermont and or food producers or aquaculture in Vermont. Um, Now, as regards, and also let me just say the other organizations we work with, in addition, we also work with Vermont Agency of Agriculture and Farm to Plate, and also Vermont Department of Tourism, as well as NOFA and other and on-farm education networks. So we all of us as a group really try to just put our energy into promoting and helping our producers during this week. So
Okay.
now,
What is NOFA?
oh, an organic farm organization. National. There's a Vermont. They have them in various states. National
Okay.
Organic Farm Association. Yeah. Um, Thanks for asking that. I didn't mean to get all acronymy. Anyway, as regards professional tours, and let me say this too, Open Farm Week can also be an opportunity for professional tours and education. It doesn't have to necessarily be for the consumer, these farm tours. It can be an opportunity for a professional education and professional development too. But I'll use an example of, I had talked about the guided tours and guided charter tours for fishing, but also we did the similar thing for Vermont Wine Project. We would take chefs and chef staff to vineyards to learn about growing practices, to have tastings, to just educate and part of that education is also coming up with a shared communication and how to communicate to staff members and other chefs, to restaurants, but back of the house, right? But it's also about education in front of the house, with being, if you're a staff person at a restaurant, a wait person, how do you communicate about what the products are to someone coming in to have a dinner?